Well, the mayor-elect called me on his way to meet President Trump in Washington on Friday. And first, we spoke about the demonstration. And I commented on what I consider is half-baked condemnation. On one hand, he did speak out against the demonstrators, but he threw in a caveat and he questioned the integrity of the synagogue, I quote, misusing its sacred space, accusing Nefesh B'Nefesh as having violated international law. And I told the mayor-elect that these remarks are highly offensive, highly insensitive to the Jewish community. And furthermore, I pointed out that not only is he out of touch with the Jewish community, but he's out of touch with the greater Muslim world. I cited examples like Indonesia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Azerbaijan, a litany of other Arab and Muslim majority countries that support a two-state solution. They may champion a Palestinian state, but never at the expense of the Jewish state of Israel. And here we have a mayor-elect who refuses to recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. And I offered the mayor-elect, I said, come with me, I'll take you on a tour, a global tour of what I've been doing for the last 20 years in terms of building and strengthening Muslim-Jewish relations around the world and where these leaders are in their support of Israel. And if you don't have time for that, then maybe we should meet with some of their ambassadors here in New York. That was the first part of our conversation.
Well, you're hinting at it slightly, but there have been some criticism that I want us to address. The fact that Mamdani might try and differentiate the Jewish people from those who support Israel, supporting synagogues that distance themselves from Israel while punishing those that actually have ties and events with organizations connected to Israel, like Nefesh B'Nefesh. After your phone call, how are you feeling about these type of rhetoric?
We must not allow the Mamdanis of the world to bifurcate Israel from the Jewish religion. Israel for Jews is not some 77-year political aspirations. It's at the very, very heart of Jewish identity. It's at the very core of Judaism. And I pointed out to the mayor that the demonization of Israel and the use of anti-Semitic tropes like genocide, occupation, apartheid, will only lead to attacks on Jews, as we witnessed in New York City last week. But again, we cannot let those like the Mamdanis of the world break out anti-Zionism from anti-Semitism. For me, it's clear. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism that will only lead to physical attacks on Jews.
How are you feeling after your phone call then with the new mayor-elect? Are you more or less concerned for once he officially steps into office?
Well, the second part of the conversation, I offered to him what I categorize as an easy layup, as we'd say in basketball, in terms of once he is elected mayor, he should look to legislate the prohibition of protests in front of houses of worship here in New York City, whether they're synagogues, mosques, churches, no different than when world leaders come to New York for the United Nations General Assembly, whether it's Putin, whether it's Erdogan, whether it's the Prime Minister of Israel. They could be staying in some of New York's most illustrious hotels, but the counter demonstrations are never allowed in front of those buildings, in front of those hotels. I must tell you that he absolutely loved my suggestion and asked that we continue this conversation. On the first part of the call, coming back to his anti-Israel rhetoric and diatribe, yes, I am concerned. I believe he is a product of his father's anti-Israel hatred, rhetoric, that anti-Israel ideology that has been professed and projected by his father. But I chose not to hit back from a Jewish perspective, but rather from a Muslim Islamic perspective. I even pointed out that as he goes off to see President Trump, many of the very countries that I am discussing with him that do support the Jewish state of Israel, those are the countries that either President Trump has brought into the Abraham Accords or is looking to expand the Abraham Accords with.